At 11 years old, barefoot and shaking, this poor Filipino boy stood on the biggest stage in the world with nothing but a broken past and a trembling voice. The judges expected another rejection. Simon Cowell was already preparing to say no. But what happened next brought an entire nation to tears. Before the story continues, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because stories like this remind us why hope still matters. In a small coastal village in the Philippines, where houses were built from scrap wood and rusted tin, a boy named Mateo lived a life most people would never survive. Every morning before sunrise, he walked to the shoreline to help his mother sort fish left behind by commercial boats. His father had died years earlier during a powerful typhoon that destroyed half the village, and since that day, Mateo became the man of the house long before he understood what that meant. School was a luxury he could only afford some days. Hunger was a feeling he knew too well. But even in that hardship, there was one thing that never left him. Music. Mateo first discovered singing not in a classroom or a church, but in the quiet moments after storms. When the winds calmed and the rain stopped, he would sit among the wreckage and sing softly, copying melodies he once heard on an old radio someone threw away. His voice carried pain far beyond his years. Neighbors noticed. Some cried when they heard him. Others told his mother that the boy's voice felt like prayer. One day, a traveling volunteer recorded Mateo singing on a cracked phone and uploaded it online. The video barely had any sound quality, but people heard something rare. Comments came from overseas. A talent scout saw it late one night and reached out. The idea sounded impossible. America's Got Talent. A stage Mateo had only seen in borrowed clips at a neighbor's house. His mother thought it was a joke. They had no money for travel. No passports. No hope. Then came the first twist. A local charity stepped in after seeing the video. Donations poured in. Within weeks, Mateo and his mother were holding passports for the first time in their lives. The night before leaving the Philippines, a massive storm hit again. Their house flooded. Mateo almost stayed behind to save what little they had. His mother told him something that changed everything. If you don't go now, you will always wonder who you could have been. When Mateo arrived in America, everything felt unreal. The buildings were taller than anything he had imagined. The lights of Los Angeles hurt his eyes. He was quiet during rehearsals, barely speaking English, gripping a small necklace that once belonged to his father. Producers asked him what song he would sing. He chose a simple ballad about loss and hope. Some staff members were worried. No big notes. No tricks. Just emotion. The day of the audition arrived. Mateo stood backstage listening to the crowd roar for others before him. He watched performers get buzzed out. Some cried. Some smiled bravely. When his name was called, his legs felt weak. He walked onto the stage wearing worn shoes and a borrowed jacket. The crowd went quiet. Simon Cowell leaned forward, skeptical. Simon asked him why he came. Mateo answered honestly. I sing because when I sing, I don't feel hungry anymore. The audience murmured. Simon nodded but his face remained unreadable. He asked the music to start. Mateo sang the first line softly, almost whispering. Some people thought he was too nervous. Then his voice opened up. It wasn't loud. It wasn't flashy. But it was raw. Every word sounded lived. Tears appeared in the audience within seconds. The camera cut to Simon. His jaw tightened. Halfway through the song, Mateo's voice cracked. He stopped for a moment, fighting tears. The crowd waited. Simon waited. This was the second twist. Instead of stopping, Mateo looked up and continued without music. His voice filled the theater completely unaccompanied. The audience stood one by one. By the final note, every judge was on their feet. Simon's eyes were wet. He did not clap at first. He just stood there, silent. When the song ended, there was a pause. Then the crowd exploded. Cheers echoed like thunder. Howie wiped his face. Sophia was crying openly. Heidi held her chest. Simon finally spoke. He said, I've heard thousands of voices. But that wasn't just singing. That was truth. His voice broke as he spoke. Simon surprised everyone by walking onto the stage. He hugged Mateo. The boy shook, not understanding fully what was happening. Then Simon turned to the crowd and said something no one expected. He said, people like this remind us why this show exists. And with that, he pressed the golden buzzer. Golden confetti rained down. Mateo dropped to his knees, covering his face. His mother screamed from backstage, collapsing in tears. The audience chanted his name. Cameras captured Simon wiping his eyes again, completely overwhelmed. After the audition aired, Mateo's life changed overnight. Messages came from all over the world. Donations flooded in. His village was rebuilt. His mother no longer worried about food. But the biggest change was inside Mateo. For the first time, he believed his voice mattered. Weeks later, another twist came. Mateo almost withdrew from the competition after learning his mother fell ill back home. He was torn between staying and leaving. Simon personally called him and told him something powerful. Winning isn't just about the trophy. It's about finishing what you started. Mateo stayed. Every performance after that carried even more depth. America watched a boy grow into himself in real time. Regardless of the final result, his audition became one of the most shared moments in AGT history. Today, Mateo uses his platform to help other children from poor communities find hope through music. He still sings barefoot sometimes, saying it helps him remember where he came from. And all of it started with one trembling voice and a moment that brought Simon Cowell to tears.